All
'Cause
right. All right.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frankie's Talk. And here today we have got the most energized person I have ever met in my life. His name is Adam, the Bitcoinmeister. So, Adam Meister, tell us a bit more about yourself.
That is my real name, Adam Meister. Some people think, "Oh, what's your real last name?" I know that's thank God my family was given that last name when they came to America over 110 years ago, whatever it was, 1904. Yeah, I'm traveling around the United States. I'm in Salt Lake City right now, and I am pumped to be here. I love talking Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin, as of this recording, is doing quite. It's over 60,000 American dollars. So, but I'm always happy
Mhm.
with. I'm always happy with Bitcoin. When I was hanging out with you in 2019 in Australia, Bitcoin was probably under $10,000 then, I think, and
Yeah, it
I
was
was love.
under 10.
I think it was like $9,000. I was fine then because I knew we were one day closer to returning to the all-time high. We're always one day closer to returning to the all-time high. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy.
Oh, good, good. I'm so happy to have you on. And exactly like what you just mentioned, we had the absolute amazing time when we were able to hang out in Sydney. And actually, you had one of the most coolest things that I've noticed, and I haven't seen anybody else do in a while. You didn't have a phone and you didn't have anything. And I remember because I was like, where the hell is Adam? He's taking so long to get here. And I'm like, wait a minute, how the hell do I contact him? No way of contacting you. Tell us more about that.
Well, I don't like phones. That was probably the night of the movie premiere.
Yeah.
We watched a Bitcoin movie in a theater in Australia. I know people don't go to are scared to go into theaters now or something like that, but in the old days, we could even watch Bitcoin movies. But I never liked phones. People are addicted to their darn phones. So I set up my laptop in a way that I can do free American and Canadian phone calls through Google Phone and stuff. So my phone is my laptop up until a point. Something has happened since we last spoke, actually, or since we
Oh.
last hung out. I work well. There's an entity out there, and maybe you should contact them, Coin Beast, and they like to teach people Bitcoin basics. And they wanted me to make their TikTok videos for them. So the beginning of starting at the end of 2020, I started making TikTok videos for them. Like these spastic, I mean, you can imagine how energetic I am. They
I
thought I was
know.
the perfect guy for these. Not that I like TikTok at all. It's the most mindless, horrible thing out there. Oh, TikTok was where they were getting into Dogecoin, like unbelievably. But I was like, I was telling people, Dogecoin is for you impulsive people. Bitcoin's for the long-term thinking. But the only way I could make Bitcoin videos for Coinbeast was if I had a phone. And so I was like, well, if you want me to do this, you're going to get me a phone. So they got me a phone. So I actually have a phone now, a smartphone. I don't use it to call anyone. I just use it to get on the internet. So I use my laptop to call people, my phone to make TikTok, to just check the internet here and there. But no, I don't walk around with the phone. The phone is still it's something that I keep hidden basically. But so I use things a little differently. I never liked ever since cell phones came about. I've been worried about brain cancer and stuff like that. I don't know, and it seems like it's too much electricity, electric, digital right near your head or near your. Some people keep it near their butt or near their private areas. You don't want the radiation down there. You don't need the radiation here or
Oh,
there.
yeah. I can actually touch that point. You are 100% right. Because when people have, let's say, for example, their phone in their pocket, let's say for a guy, he has his phone in his pocket all the time, he'll probably have trouble having kids purely
Yeah.
because of the EMFs and things like that. So, yeah, we're very, very EMF sensitive, but people don't understand that. Like when they're having it in their pocket or whenever they're carrying around, I actually have a special bag that I carry my phone in so it cancels out all EMFs. So only when I pull it out is when I'll get text messages coming through.
There you go. Better
Yeah.
safe than sorry with those things. Who knows what they're going to find out in 50 years? We're all guinea pigs. Now I mean, it's convenient to have a computer on your hand at all times. But man, the youth of today, they're just staring at that stuff. I mean, it's and I want nothing to do. I don't want to be like that at all. And so again, I keep it here as it's just a computer for me. That's all. Every once in a while, I don't have any phone service hooked up to it. I don't have my Twitter account on it because I don't want to type in any passwords into it just in case it gets lost one day, just in case it gets stolen. I did this. I put a Moon wallet on it, MUUN, and that was my first experience with Lightning Network. So that I will say I did. That's the only, like, I have $25 worth of Bitcoin on it or something like that. If anyone wants to jack me, there you can get my $25. My phone's worth $25 to you. Okay, that I experimented because you need some of these Lightning wallets. You need a phone and everything, so that came in handy. But no, it's not. I don't use it. I don't use it as a phone. I have not hooked up my Google phone number to that at all. I want nothing to do with my Google or anything. I don't want anybody stealing any important information of mine. But if you lose the phone, you're in trouble. I mean, it's just, and I tell people, don't store Bitcoin, a significant amount of Bitcoin, on your phone, because I just don't trust it. I just don't trust it. So I've got $25 that someone very graciously contributed to the show. He's like, I want you to do Lightning Network, because I haven't really, since I'm such a big saver, with Lightning Network, I admire it from a distance. I don't want to spend any Bitcoin at all. But so someone just like, you got to try it. And so they sent me $25. So that was whatever it is, 25, 30, 33, I forgot now. 33, who knows? It changes all the time.
I actually really love the Lightning Network. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
It was fun. It was so instantaneous. That was cool to see. It was cool to see.
Yeah. It's even the same, like some of my clients pay me in Bitcoin, and it's like one of those things where, I can just send that exact amount and they don't have to do anything. They just have to, follow the process within that. And that's so much more easier. It's just, it's so much more cleaner from a UX and a user experience side of things, So no, I absolutely love it. But let's go a little bit. I want to understand, how the hell did you find out about Bitcoin? Like, what got you into the space? When did you get into the space?
I bought my first 2 Bitcoin in November of 2013. So we're getting up on the 8-year anniversary of that. It was like November 6th. It was before our Thanksgiving here in America. So it was November 16th, November 20th, something like, I could look it up. It's written down, but getting close to the 8-year anniversary. I had heard about it definitely in 2012, probably in 2011. And the reason I heard about it, I know I would go to alternative economic websites. I was into economics and obviously into the internet, and technology. So and some of these alternative economic websites were such doomers, like the world's going to end, get gold, go live in your basement, blah blah blah. But at least one of them, probably 2 of them, started talking about Bitcoin, and it seemed cool to me, because after the economic crisis of 2008, 2009 is when I got into the alternative economic websites and started learning that you didn't have to rely, like most people, you think the state government is just a natural thing. It's there, it's awesome, it's there, it's great. You don't envision a world without it. And 2008, 2009 opened my mind to that kind of thinking, which got me into these alternative websites. And thus, when I found out about a stateless money, I was like, this is great. This is cool. The whole decentralization part of it, and even the unconfiscatable part of it, I didn't even care about then. The technology part, digital stateless money. So I admired the digital aspect and the stateless aspect, but I was too scared to buy any, the first 2 years. And I was hearing about hacks and this and Mt. Gox and, wiring your money to Japan. And let me tell you, people from different countries are used to wiring money to other countries. Americans, not used to that at all. So Adam was not going to do that. That was, when I just mildly hearing about, wiring money to Japan, that was it. No. Stateless digital money, it seems cool. And then there was a couple times, like I heard it in 2013, it pumped to 200. I'm like, well, maybe I missed out on this thing, maybe. But lucky for me, Coinbase came around in November of 2013. And I was like, it's easy now. I don't have to wire anything. And it's pumping again. It's 400, 500. And I was visiting a friend in Detroit. And I was quite paranoid about the place I was staying at, and that it was that there was a the woman I was staying with had an ex-husband or someone she was divorcing who was he was technologically sophisticated, so I thought maybe he had the place hacked or something. So I didn't want to type in any credit cards when I was at her house. That's why. But so I waited until I left Detroit, got back to Baltimore, bought my first 2 Bitcoin, and the rest is freaking history. I never sold those 2 Bitcoin. I still got every single freaking Bitcoin that I've ever purchased. And that Thanksgiving, which was again about 10 days later or whenever it was, I was telling all my friends, look, I bought this. It was like $640 a piece. I bought 2 of them, and it's already gotten up to $900 because it was during a pump. I had FOMO. I had FOMO during a pump. I went through everything that all the newbies go through, like, oh, I missed out. Oh, wait, it's pumping. I can't miss it. I'm fear of missing out now. And then afterwards, 2014 came around, and it started going down, down, down. But I did not panic. I bought more, not that much more right away, but I bought more. And that was the difference between me and so many other people. So many people, when it starts going down, and it does go down, and it goes down on most days, for God's sakes. You got to be used to this. Okay? I didn't panic. I kept it. I was still buying. Not only did I have a strong hand, I was still buying. Now there were some difficult times. I mean, it got down to $200 a few times, and I bought. I should have bought more, but I bought some. But I was worried. But I did my research. I learned, and I was convinced there is no way this thing is going to zero, because back in 2015, when it was dropping to $200, less than $200 a couple days, there were people like, it's going to zero. Now, only insane people say it's going to go to zero. It's not. It is part of the fabric of humanity now. Okay, the very pound that like button for that saying that I just made up. All right, it is part of the fabric of humanity. But no, in 2015, I was not fearful of that. I mean, there were plenty of people that were fearful of that. I was on the forums. People would. Think back. The high that Bitcoin got to at the end of 2013 was around $1,100. And there were people that would just make fun of it. You bought it at 11. Now, I didn't buy it at 1,100, but I would read other people would say, all those idiots who bought it at 1,100, they would call them idiots. Now we look back, the people who bought it 1,100, 900, 800, and people would be made fun of their buying at 700. Are geniuses now if they held on, or very rich right now if they held on. Okay. Because there were plenty of people who spent $7,000 and they bought 10 Bitcoin, and now it's $600,000 if they held on. Unfortunately, there are more people that regret selling that have held on since. I mean, we've gone through this. I've gone through this twice now with peaks. I was there for the 2013 peak. I was there for the 2017 peak, and now I'm here for the 2021 peak. I was there for 2016 having, 2020 having. So I've seen every conceivable thing. I've seen the FUD repeated over and over again. Every year there was China FUD. Every year there was like, China's doing this, China's doing that. We must worship China. Anything that comes out of China is important. Now, even if you're in Australia, and Australians now worship China because they're just as totalitarian as China. The government of China, the government of Australia has followed the way of China, and it is a disgrace. It is a disgrace to the great people of Australia that their government is as disgraceful as China. But I digress. China is weak. China, in terms of Bitcoin, who cares? The mining is now all going to the United States. Great. That's awesome. They can't use the FUD that China's going to close down all the mining anymore. There is no mining in China anymore, or something like that. But over the years, my Lord, how people have panicked on China news. And now China has really got a loser, well, not a loser mentality, an authoritarian mentality, because they don't want their people to have economic freedom. They don't want them to have that on-ramp to get out of their digital yuan, which maybe you guys will be using in Australia soon. Maybe China will force it upon you, since you guys just follow. I mean, when I say you guys, I mean the government of Australia. The people of Australia are great. Are great. I love them. And I love my times in Australia. I wish I could return to Australia, but I cannot return to Australia when it's authoritarian like this now. This is a way to get everybody hooked on the digital yuan, a total surveillance state. Bitcoin goes against that. So, and all these people, these idiots in the Western world that say, oh, if you buy Bitcoin, you're just helping China. It is the opposite. You are hurting China if you buy Bitcoin. It is a freedom coin. But there are people, everyone's got their prerogative. Everybody's got their reason for making up lies and saying things, why they want people off of Bitcoin and whatnot. But, and you know, we're going to have a digital dollar here soon too. And most Americans they will accept it, but we won't have to. You stay with Bitcoin, it will work fine. There's a lot of people out there that think Bitcoin's going to take over the whole darn world. Okay, it's going to become the current. It won't, because most people are collectivists. Most people will do what their leaders tell them to do. But Bitcoin can still thrive, because Bitcoin can thrive without everybody being forced to be part of it. Bitcoin is an opt-in system. But all the other fiat systems, everybody's plan of ruling, centralized ruling, really requires like 99% compliance. Okay, Bitcoin does not require that at all. Bitcoin doesn't have to have the whole world use it. And the great thing is, the smart people use the Bitcoin, and they're the ones that preserve their wealth. If idiot people want to be on yuan coin or dollar coin or whatever, that's their prerogative. Have fun staying poor is what I get to say to those people.
That was. Wow, so much information in one bit. Absolutely loved it. I loved how we went like from one extreme to the next, but just going to touch on one of the points that I did hear you bring up. And, you know, anyone that is listening to this that is in Australia, unfortunately, yes, we are going to that authoritarian kind of state. It already has been. We've been trialing it for quite a while. I think it started in Northern Territory a couple of years ago. I would have to check my facts on that, but I'm pretty sure it was. Where we were actually rolling out the surveillance state. And you know what? When you go into Brisbane or any of the major cities, there's cameras everywhere. You can't escape any cameras. And unfortunately, that leads to now, you know, one of the things I actually did see coming out of China was using their face as a way of paying for things. So now they don't even have credit cards anymore. They literally walk up to a camera and it scans their face, and that's linked to their bank.
And the way they spin it in the Western world, oh, it's so convenient. You know, they'll write an
Yeah.
article about it in the New York Times. Oh, look how convenient it is. And then you don't have to touch dirty money anymore. You know, you scan your face, they subtract the digital yuan from your account. Oh my God, China is so technologically advanced, but they're fascist. But oh yeah, they're technologically advanced. The media. People have been admiring fascism since the 30s and 40s. They would say about the German fascist government, oh, look how they make the trains run on time. Oh, they're so technologically advanced. They're designing rockets and such because they have an authoritarian model. The leader, he picks what industries are to be the winners and funnels the money into those industries so they can have rockets. And it's the same thing that's in China. And again, yeah, so fascism can be very efficient. Oh, yes, of course it could be very efficient. And what is the cost of that efficiency? Total removal, destruction of your freedom. And then, of course, you know, no dissent at all, no opposition. If they put you in a concentration camp, the German fascists did it, the Chinese fascists do it with the Muslims, and now in Australia they have these camps where if you haven't got shot, I've heard different things. Quarantine camps. It's disgusting. I couldn't even believe it was real.
Yeah,
and that the people aren't rebelling against it.
That's the thing, and nobody understands the severity of it. That's the unfortunate thing, you know. And I think for example, Sydney is a great example. I was talking to one of my best friends the other day. Sorry, somehow my partner left his phone in here. I'm just going to turn that on silent. So one of the things I did see what happened the other day was my girlfriend called me, and she's one of my bestest friends, known her for my whole life. And she goes, oh, you know, I ended up getting the vaccine. I'm double vaxxed now. Like, I'm so amazed. Like, now I can go back to living my normal life. Because that's exactly what New South Wales has done. All the double vaxxed people, you can now go out and have fun. All the people that are not vaxxed, you have another 6 weeks based in quarantine that you cannot go out. I'm like, this is just ridiculous. And the funny thing is there's no such thing as mandatory vaccines. It's all a story. It's all a narrative. Because
it's a horrible narrative that people believe they can't have fun. And my life hasn't changed at all. I've had fun during this whole thing. Again, I'm in America. I've been in America the entire time. I have lived my life as I normally would have. I go running. I do every single thing. I have chosen to be in cities where I know I'm definitely going to be able to do my thing. When this whole thing started, I was in Los Angeles. It didn't get too crazy in Los Angeles after I left. Oh, of course, no, the day before I left, they had riots. You may remember that. There was the George Floyd all over the United States. There were actually a few blocks away from me. There was looting. There was looting. The next day I go jogging. There was things, cars had been on fire and stuff. It's quite a surreal situation. And so I go to states where people live normally. But on the East Coast of the United States, where I'm from Baltimore originally, which is north of Washington, D.C., south of Philadelphia, for those of you who know your geography. We've got a broad audience here trying to narrow it down. But the East Coast people, so many people are just living in this fear bubble, this unbelievable fear bubble. They could have lived their lives. They could have walked around and done things normally. It has been such a productive 1.5 years for me, partially because half the people aren't being productive anymore. So it's just, if you're going to be, this is a time to be productive in America, because so many people are just throwing in the towel. You have so much better an opportunity. And of course, in the cryptocurrency space, the Bitcoin space, whatever you want to call it, it is a golden age. There's so much out there. You could be anywhere in the world and make money. And I've encouraged all of my viewers to contact founders, contact people on Twitter that are in charge of businesses, and just say what you can do for them, and they'll hire you. This is such a great time to freaking be alive. The opportunity that Bitcoin is bringing people. But there are so many people that watch the news, and the news tells them to be scared. The news tells them to be sad. The news tells them that everything is different now. But when I go outside, I still see birds and trees. They don't know the difference. They don't know anything. And again, some cities are better than others. And Florida was a pleasure. But Florida, you don't notice. You wouldn't know. People's behaviors are totally normal. The people out on the street. Again, in Baltimore, there was a time when you could tell people were freaked out a little bit and stuff. It's improved as time has gone on. But the things I hear about New York City are so shameful and embarrassing. It was once the best city in the United States of America. The fear there is unbelievable to this day, and the authoritarianism streak from these people, that they think that private businesses the government should tell private businesses how to run themselves. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We've gone off on these current event things.
I know. But it's amazing because it kind of paints a beautiful picture, because this, again, instills why Bitcoin is so important. It's another piece that just contributes, and it just says to everyone, what the hell are you doing? Just buy a little bit, get into it. And I know that that's one of the things that you actually wanted to try and tell the audience a bit more about, which was that long-term thinking and the never sell sort of attitude. So explain that a little bit, unpack that for the audience.
Well, I think the youth of today don't even know what a savings account is anymore. The reason they don't know what a savings account is because if you go to get a savings account at Wells Fargo or Citi or whatever, they pay you 0.1% or something. That's your interest. People are like, what? Why would I do that? Why would I lock away? Saving? What's that mean even? But the thing with Bitcoin, you treat it as a 4-year savings account, basically. It is a newfangled savings account because of the halving. The new supply gets cut in half every 4 years. And if you look at the pattern, and it's not just a pattern to me, I have lived this. Okay, you take any moment. You take any moment in time. Like right now, you subtract 4 years, and Bitcoin is worth more in terms of fiat. You could take any moment. So you extrapolate that to the future. You buy it today, in 4 years, it's going to be worth more. But you just can't. You got to have savings. Savings is what creates wealth. Okay. Consuming, you end up with nothing. You end up with something that degrades. It falls apart. I've got a video out there from 2014 that says instead of buying a $50,000 car, buy a $10,000 car and spend $10,000 on Bitcoin. And had you done that, that $10,000 of Bitcoin would be worth over $1 million right now. So this is the thing of Bitcoin. It is something that is scarce. It isn't really, it's an asset. It's an appreciating asset, a scarce appreciating asset. But you can just simplify it in your head. It's just a savings account. So don't touch it for 4 years. You cannot be, but most people can't handle that. There's so many temptations out there. There's so many scary things when it goes down in value. But the altcoin temptation, oh my Lord. More and more things are coming out. This world is becoming more and more digital. And that's partially because there's so many people in this world that are scared to go outside. Okay. So those people are helping the price of NFTs and because they're never gonna touch a real person again. I mean, literally, they're scared to touch real people now. So their pleasure will come from holding a digital asset that they can brag about to their friend online, and they'll be, oh look, I paid $10,000 for this picture of Prince or something like that. I don't know. This Beatles John Lennon here. This picture of him that I drew, I spent $100,000 on, and it's digital, and it's this, and to each his own. The world is becoming more digital. Young people are into this digital. Unfortunately, we're going to get to the 2-year mark of this panic over the virus. That's, if you're 18 years old, that's 2 out of 18 years of your life. This is your norm. I mean, it's sickening. It's disgusting. 1/9 of your life has been lived under this, and they're the people that are into the TikTok stuff, into the digital stuff. So, but that's tempting. Why would they want this boring Bitcoin when they can own a picture of John Lennon? It wouldn't be John Lennon, it'd be some rapper, Snoop Dogg. I don't know who. They don't know who John Lennon is. If they knew who John Lennon is, they would own Bitcoin. And John Lennon's son, Sean Lennon, one of John Lennon's sons, Sean Lennon, is a Bitcoin fan. I just wanted to point that out to people. He is he likes NFTs also, but he's a freak. He thinks for himself. He is well, he's famous on Twitter at least. He likes Bitcoin. Because he's got, he's from Manhattan, Sean Lennon, and so he runs in circles of all these leftist people. But he'll tweet about Bitcoin, and then people are like, "Why are you into that? Why?" But he does not back down. And I give those free thinkers of the world all the credit in the world. But this isn't a left or a right thing. It's a free thinker thing. So these dudes that are not defined by these paradigms, left versus right, they could just be like, yeah, I can like Bitcoin, but I can like music too, and I can like this. And I was talking to someone. There's a website actually, and I have it open. I have not had time to even look at it. It's like called the Progressive Case for Bitcoin. What's this thing called? So there's so many people out there. They hear that you like Bitcoin, and on social media, since social media is all about attacking people because people can't, instead of promoting themselves, they must destroy. I'm the person, I love creation over destruction, but most people love to destroy. So if they hear you say Bitcoin, they're like, oh, you're some conservative libertarian. You were involved on January 6th, blah, 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 blah. It's nonsense. This site, what is this site called? I think it's called the Progress. Here it is. Yes. The progressivebitcoiner.com. Bitcoin doesn't care if you are rich, poor, brown, white, black, gay, straight, American. Bitcoin is for everyone. So I haven't, now it could be a bad site. I don't know. I haven't had time to look at it yet, but the progressive Bitcoin, but the point is it isn't left or right. And it's really sad that there are people who probably are like politically in the middle that got scared, or maybe politically on the left, who found out about this in like 2014, who got scared away because, somebody told them it's just for libertarian rightists or something like that. And now they're poor still, and they could be rich, and they could be doing really impressive things that they enjoy, but instead they're working at Target or something like that. I don't know. So
Yeah.
it is not, I want people watching this right now. This Bitcoin doesn't care if you're left or you're right. Bitcoin doesn't care if you're in Iran doing some nasty things, or if you're in America, or if you're in China, or whatever. That is the thing. It is it's uncensorable. You can send it to the worst. You can send it to your worst enemy, and that's what I love about it. That grew. I did not know about that at first. Again, remember, my introduction was just like digital money that no government controls. When I started understanding what unconfiscatable was and uncensorable was, and that if my enemies buy this, I'm going to be richer. So go ahead, and no one can take it from the fact that no one can take it from my enemies, that I can't get a government to take it from my enemies, gives it so much freaking value there. And people have to, but there's some people that are like, oh, my enemy nation has it, so I'm not going to buy it. No, you don't get it. That's the point, that they can have it. You should have it too. They're making you richer, dude.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest narratives, right? That's always been told is, oh, this is for drug dealers, or, terrorists utilize this, or blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, guys, they probably also use Facebook. They probably also use Instagram. What's the difference? The thing is when you look at those types of people, they're always on the frontier of a lot of technologies. So even when you look at the internet, they were like the first ones utilizing the internet. So really, they're kind of paving in the way. So you either jump on board the train and you ride the waves up, but yes, there will probably be a lot of emotion. And that's actually the next thing that I'd love to go into, is when we're going into, the price is going up and down, it's fluctuating. And you've ridden a lot of the fluctuating prices, obviously, especially for when you got in there. How did you deal with it emotionally? Because I know a lot of people freak out. They have the panic sells. Then they think, oh, maybe I should get back into it. And then they get too scared. For example, one of my Good guy friends. Actually, now he's a Bitcoiner. But when I first, just before we actually started building Amber, I was trying to get him to buy Bitcoin and stuff. He finally did, but it plummeted a little bit. He was just, and then he freaked out. He called me, he came into my house. He's like, "What is this thing?" Blah blah. I'm like, "Just hold on to it. Just forget about it. Buy, forget. Come back to
There,
it another day."
okay, so there's one thing you can do. You got to put it out. You got to put it out of your mind. You cannot check the price. The people who check the price every single minute of the day, they're the ones who fall victim to the weak hand. Okay, in America, people can be reminded. You know, there's tax reasons you don't want to sell it for at least a year. So remember that, people. You'll get short-term capital gains tax if you sell it in less than a year. So that
Same
should be
here.
so I had that incentive the first year, but I was pretty good. You know, when it was going down, I was, you know, I thought, you know, this is for the future. I haven't spent that much money on it yet, and I was researching, and I was just still learning. So the process of learning really got my mind off of the price. But I mean, there was a point when it had gotten down into 200s where I did slow the pace of buying at that time. But that's different than selling. Much different than selling. And so again, not to and there was a point. I remember I had one of my siblings was in Brazil, and I went to visit Brazil. Actually, it was in November of 2015, and I didn't think about it. I like tried not to think about it when I was there. So like there were when I could come up with a reason not to think about it, like being on a 10-day vacation in Brazil, I would not think about it. So you know, don't let it dominate your life, or like but also know that it comes back, and that it is very volatile. It is very volatile, and I don't know when the volatility is going to go away. It might not. I predicted maybe it'll be after 2024 halving, but it might not be until after 2028 halving, and that's, you know, 7 years away. So so get used to. You got to get it in your mind. This is not like the stock market at all. It is new, and there's going to be FUD out there, and there's a lot of people who hate it that are going to go out of their way to try to scare you about it. But once I became a real like OG expert, and I mean, I learned to embrace it almost. Like it was like a badge of honor that I could go make a show every freaking day in 2018 saying I'm not selling. It's gone down to 3,000 now, and I'm not selling. Okay, and just the public display of it, it fed me. And then finally, you know, when you think it can't get much crazier, you know, 2020 had started, and the price, sure enough, heading into the 2020 halving, started going up just as I predicted. We got back to the 5-digit realm of $10,000, and then all of a sudden we have March 12th and March 13th. The whole world panics, and some of the things I saw on Twitter then, from people just selling and saying it's going to go lower, blah blah blah, and that was my ultimate in being a strong hand. Of all the times that I've been proud of never selling, it was March 12th and 13th when I bought 2 more Bitcoin. I spent 10,000 US dollars combined on 2 more Bitcoin. I posted it on Twitter. I mean, you could see the tweets, and I took a picture of me buying. You know, I did it. It was within a 24-hour period that I spent $10,000, a little over $10,000 on 2 Bitcoin. Okay, and that was the best, because I knew right then, this is insane. I've never seen anything. It makes no sense at all. Logic, because you got to realize that there are going to be dark days in your life, but there's always a day after tomorrow. There were so many people in the world, in the financial world, that thought their whole world was going to end. And I'm like, I know what this thing is, okay? And I know that a lot of people are going to get rich off of today. And there's that saying, when there's blood in the streets, that's when you buy. And I wanted to practice what I had heard. I don't think I had preached that. I don't think I had said that before. But man, that was really the ultimate day. And I'm so proud of that day. Like, that was the ultimate blood in the streets day. So for the people that have weak hands, think about, you know, it can get worse. I think everybody remembers those days for various reasons. And just think about what Meister did that day. And that I was really living that blood in the streets lifestyle. And the $10,000 I spent that day, now they're worth over, you know, combined as of the taping right now, was it $122,000? So I mean, that's most people who they make $110,000 in a year, or whatever. That's pretty good salary. I mean, but that again, I didn't sell it. It's all on paper. It's part of my badge of honor right there. But no, Bitcoin is during a time of panic or a post panic. That's when Bitcoin should thrive. But there was an anomaly. Everybody was panicking. People had to pay for other things, so they sold their Bitcoin. But it was a very brief thing, guys. There's a day after tomorrow, and these brief panics only last a little while, and then afterwards, life goes on. Life goes on. People have to remember that.
Yeah, and it's the same with everything in everyday life anyway. Like you mentioned, you're going to have your shit days anyway in life. You're going to have your good days. So it's about just riding it, getting through it. Just, water off a duck's back, live each day as it comes. And probably you'll be happier living your whole entire perspective of life like that than living out of fear and being scared or hiding away from COVID and all of these different things as well. So yeah, that's definitely I can't believe by the way, congratulations for doing that. That was amazing. Buying those two Bitcoins at that time and being able to ride it.
I want to show the world like there's nothing to fear here. I put my money where my freaking mouth is there, but at the same time, it's going to benefit me financially too. I just there comes a point where it's like so ridiculously low, and when I saw that. When I saw it had gone to 6,000, that was the first thing I did. It was a little over 6,000 or whatever it was. I was like, this is ridiculous. It was just 10,000 the other day, but then it was over a 24-hour period. I mean, I think that's what was scary for most people, that it lasted like 20, and it got worse. It dropped below 4,000, and so when I saw it was in the 4,000s, I was like, wow. That's when I got the second one, was in the 4,000. I was like, and that didn't last too long. It didn't stick up well. It was only like 3,900. I didn't even see it. I seen it drop there. I'm like, what? And I'm like, well, it's already bounced back. I got to get it. It's going to bounce back even more. I got to get it here. I got to get my second one here. And no, it's great. There's so few people who can tell a story like that. Most people say, oh yeah, that's when I sold. Yeah, I mean, you can look at tweets from that day. Most people don't use Twitter this way, but you can look at the archives, and there's all sorts of people who responded to me were like, it's going lower, it's going low. I mean, all these doomers. That's the thing. Be positive, be in motion. The doomers lose. They are losers over time. Okay, they really are. They just live in this. They were waiting for the world to end. And the funny thing is, for many people, it had finally come. And all those people who've been waiting for the world to end, they were the ones who were probably the most scared on that day, who were doing the most ridiculous things. But me, no, I kept it totally positive, because I knew this is ridiculous. This will pass. This will pass in time. It surely did. And the rich got richer that day. And so the rich got richer because they were like me. They don't panic. They bought assets on the cheap that day. Okay. And it wasn't. And to tell you the truth, you didn't have to do it on those 2 days, on March 12th and 13th. For, about a month afterwards, there were so many things that were cheap still. So many. I mean, when did Bitcoin finally get back to 10,000 after that? It took a little while.
It took ages.
Yeah. And of course, now we know that Bitcoin hasn't been under 10,000 since like August. And we'll never go back there. I mean, yeah, it's in the past right now. So for all the people who love to complain about the rich getting richer, dude, you had your opportunity. It was there. There was blood in the streets. That was an unprecedented opportunity. Most people were seeing it as an unprecedented, scary event. It was an unprecedented opportunity. And people like me, who already had plenty of Bitcoin, and I had plenty of Bitcoin, but got 2 more Bitcoin that day. 2 more Bitcoin that day. And most people, they say, I don't want to get into Bitcoin because I can't afford 1 Bitcoin. It's so unfair. There you go. That was a day where a regular person could have spent $4,000 on 1 Bitcoin, okay? 4,000. Now, again, it's not the same as spending, back in the day, $200, but $4,000 on 1 Bitcoin today, anyone would jump on that. I mean, 62,000. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I know. And it's only going to go up and up, guys. So, at the end of the day, it's still not too late. You can still jump in, still be a part of the community, jump on Twitter, reach out to Adam, reach out to anybody you want on Twitter, and they'll be happily advise you or help you out on where to buy Bitcoin or answer any questions that you have. The Bitcoin community is very friendly. And I say this in every single episode. They are super friendly and willing to help you in any way, shape, or form.
You got to be able to be patient, though, people. Again,
Yeah.
if you buy it today at 62,000 and it crashes down to 40,000 tomorrow, that could happen. But know that in 4 years from today, you'll be happy. You just got to have the conviction to hang on for 4 years. That's all. It's that simple.
Exactly. No, 100%. Now, I did want to actually circle back to the beginning of the podcast.
Yes.
When we're talking about when you bought your first bit of Bitcoin and you first found out about it and everything else, what was your job? Like, what did you actually do back then?
Oh, back then I was living in Baltimore. I owned a house. Well, I owned 2 houses, so there was some rental income coming in back then, and I did a business called contactmeister.com. I did marketing research for software companies. There was, I mean, I would do odd. I worked for myself, and it was very little expense. My house in Baltimore was in a bad neighborhood, but we had targeted this neighborhood a few years earlier to buy cheap houses and live in them, not flip them, but live in them. So my house only cost me $41,000. I had paid off the mortgage a long time ago, and I had people renting from me. So I didn't have expenses. I mean, I partied like a rock star. I mean, women, alcohol, no drugs, but women and alcohol, yeah. I'd go out all the time. The Meister was in the freaking club of Baltimore, man. But I just didn't have many expenses. I had a Chevy Cavalier. I didn't get a fancy car or anything like that. And I kept the Chevy Cavalier way too long until like the brakes gave out. Oh my God, that was just. I don't get nice things. And the weird thing is, I would advise people, to be frugal, but don't let it consume you. Because now I'm very wealthy and I can't spend on anything. It's like unbelievable. I cannot. With my Bitcoin. I mean, obviously, there are ways that I could spend fiat and not spend my Bitcoin and be very. But still, I'm very careful with my money still to this day. But I was very careful back then. So I mean, there wasn't much money coming in, but there was hardly any expenses. Hardly any expenses. So I did. All sorts of fun things I used to do back then. But so I was in the mentality, I was already outside of normality at that point. I did not have a 9-to-5 job. And I understood that you did not have, that fitting in was overrated in that way. You could still have a very fun, productive life, but just doing things a little differently and having weird hours. And so I would have clients all over the country or whatever that I would do. I find email addresses for people. That is what contactmeister.com did, basically. It was, I know how to make money. I can come up with things like that pay the bills and everything. But I didn't have many bills. Didn't have many bills back then at all.
That's amazing. That's seriously, and that's again touching on another point. Anyone that's in marketing or does marketing research and things like that, like Adam used to be exactly like you. So this is kind of your point to go, okay, wow, I can actually relate and I can actually jump into Bitcoin and potentially, make quite a lot of money and also be a part of a community that wants you.
There's so many opportunities for marketing people. I mean, you're from the marketing side of things. I had a major in marketing. That's the weird thing about in the Bitcoin space, cryptocurrency space. A lot of people are like, they don't like marketing. They don't get it. You need someone to tell people about you. You have the best product in the world. They're not just going to find out about it. There are a lot of technical guys that think, oh yeah, they just will find. No, that's not how it works. Bitcoin needs marketing people. So if you're a marketing person, you reach out to CEOs, whatever, and say what specific things you can do for them on social media, on whatever. You come up with a marketing plan for it. They will hire you. They will pay. They will do. So there's a lot of marketing out there. Bitcoin is not just for tech people, and that's one of the sad things about Bitcoin. You watch some of these videos that are all technologically sophisticated. You don't understand a word they're saying, and people get scared off. Do not get scared off. It can be as simple as just saying it is a savings account, a newfangled savings account. Just think of it. You don't have to know how the Lightning Network works, and you don't have to. There's just so many people that think you need to know all that. No. For Bitcoin, for the normies to embrace it, they're not going to care about the technical side of things at all. They want to know how it affects their everyday life, and it's for every type of person. So don't think you need to know the coding of Bitcoin. I don't know coding. I don't know any of that stuff. I know finance, I know marketing, and those are reasons I know freedom. So yeah, I came from a marketing background, but I became outside the box. And the funny thing is about what we did in Baltimore. Me and my friends did on that block. We made the block a better block. I saw all sorts of crazy things on that block. Drug dealers, people had been murdered on my block before. I remember around my birthday, someone was murdered there once. But it was a drug dealer. It was there was a reason for it. You didn't feel scared. But I yelled at drug dealers. They would stash crack in the back of my backyard. And once a prostitute was performing an act in the breezeway on my property. And someone was smoking crack in my breezeway once. I mean, I've seen it all, but it was an adventure. It was a great event. But the thing about still the people from Baltimore, I mean, that's where I'm from originally, but it's so sad. It just shows how people are trees and are stuck in their ways. They still think I'm there. I mean, there's some people think, oh yeah, Adam's making Baltimore a better place. The Buy a Block project, this, that, and that. They don't know about my Bitcoin. They don't know about Bitcoin at all. They don't. It is unbelievable. People just get kind of stuck in their ways. They know you for who you are. Most people in Baltimore, I mean, the overwhelming people, they have no idea I'm doing this now. No idea I'm known throughout the Bitcoin community throughout the entire world. And it's awesome to go to a place where I'll be recognized. I mean, when I met you in Sydney, the first day I met you in Sydney, there was a guy at the event who knew who I was. I didn't know who he was. He knew who I was. It's great. Now, I'm not like super duper famous or anything like that, but there are people in Baltimore that people don't know me for. There's like a couple people that know Bitcoin there. It's really weird. There's just some places are more set in their ways than others. You want to leave places like that. There was a time, I mean, there was many years of my life when I was on that block, I was trying to sacrifice myself to make Baltimore a better place. The correct thing to do was to leave Baltimore and make me a better person. And I did do that. And I did, and wow, did it freaking pay off. I got into some, like, I couldn't have stayed there and become the Bitcoinmeister. I just couldn't have done it. Mm-hmm. It is actually, it's a dangerous place. The thing that made me leave is one night when I was walking to the club, two youth came out of nowhere and pulled out a gun and tried to rob me, but I ran away from them. And so, and I was so happy after. I was happy like this. Instead of having nightmares about it, I was like, I'm not dying in this city. I'm getting out of here. And that was when my so much change in my life. That was August of 2013. So I started traveling then, and I bought my first, 2 Bitcoin 3 months later after that. So that was an important spark in my life too. Getting out of Baltimore was very important because it is the excuses that people make. I have been around this. I have been to so many different cities on this planet. It is disgraceful the way that the culture of Baltimore is disgraceful, of danger and violence. That people are like, oh, it's normal to get mugged. That happens to everyone in Bolton Hill. If you walk, what did you expect if you're walking through Bolton Hill at 9 o'clock at night? Of course you might be mugged. That's unacceptable in most places. Even in the United States, that's the thing. Americans, I mean, they're so stupid. If most people on the East Coast knew what the West Coast was like, they would leave. I mean, I think they would leave. I hope they would leave and go to like Salt Lake City, where I am right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like little kids running in the street, fresh air, no one's cursing or screaming. You don't smell drugs. I mean, it's beautiful. It's unbelievable. And every American can move to Salt Lake City if they want to. Every American, they're stuck in their way. I got to stick with my friends. I got to go down with the ship. You don't go down with the ship. You do not sacrifice. You don't sacrifice. That's collectivist. That is collectivism at its very. So some of these liberal cities, I mean, the excuses they come up with, it's unbelievable. Baltimore comes up with excuses, and now some of these cities that used to be a little better, like San Francisco, well, people are poor. It's all right if they rob the Rite Aid. It's just a Rite Aid. It's just a CVS. It's a pharmacy in America. And the excuses that people come up with, travel the world when. I don't know if people can travel the world anymore with all these weird restrictions, but if it was 2018 still, I would be like, learn. If you're an American, travel America. It's a lot. Drive across the country. It is a beautiful experience. You see that it is just not, America goes way beyond the Northeast. If you watch the news, CNN, which is based in New York, and all these, your impression of America is this Northeast biased impression of America, and that is not America. It's way beyond that. And so much of America has been living Texas has been living a normal life. Florida's been living. These are some of the most populated states in the United States. People don't even realize that Florida is the third most populated state now. They don't realize Florida has more people than New York does. Florida has more people than New York.
Wow.
I guess Florida has more people than Australia. I assume. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. I think, yeah, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, don't be a tree, people. Don't be a tree.
I think
Be in
that's
motion.
what we call, yeah, that's what we call the vortex. You get stuck in this vortex and it sucks you in. And that's one of the things that I've always never been able to deal with, is when I can see everyone doing the same thing. And if I see myself starting to do it, I know I have to break out. I have this thing where every year I have to break out of Australia and go somewhere new. We just moved to Tasmania and already I'm like, okay, how can I get to the States? All right, I figured that part out. Now it's like, okay, booking the flights and actually getting over there. Well, first I need to get permission from Australian government to leave. But when I do, then I'll be definitely heading over to the States, and maybe I might come visit you over in Salt Lake City.
Well, that's the thing. I won't be that I want you to visit me in America, but who knows where I'm going to be, because I am so in motion. I don't own any real estate now. Real estate is an attack vector. Okay, they could tax you on it. If you get stuck in the wrong state, California, oh my God, I wouldn't want to own real estate in California right now with all the mandates and all this nonsense. So I just go from one Airbnb to another. I'm going to Dallas tomorrow. So I'm going to be in Dallas. I've never been.
Oh, so good.
I've been to Texas, but I've never been in Dallas. I've been in the airport, but so once I get to Dallas tomorrow, if Southwest is flying, because last weekend Southwest there was who knows what happened, but if the pilots strike tomorrow, I support them. Seriously, if I can't get to Dallas because the pilots don't want to take some shot, that is great. I support them, but I'll figure out a way to get to Dallas. But once I get to Dallas, I will have been in the top 11 most populated cities in the United States. I think Dallas is like number 8. So I know that's the only one that I haven't been, and I forget which one's number 11 now, but I know I've been in the top 11, maybe I've been in the top 12, I don't know. So I've seen how it rolls in a lot of different places, but no, I love seeing I just get more Airbnb deals. I get really good deals. I know how to sniff them out. But I might be changing things up soon. And I admire you for having a plan. You like to change things up every. That is what you have to have a plan, though, people. You have to have a system, a plan, something. You just can't think it's going to come to you. And you got to be in motion. Plan it out a little bit. So I've got my next thing. I'm probably going to buy. I don't own a car, but I'm probably going to buy a cheap car so I can just drive around and see smaller cities in America. Since I'm figuring. I'm not going to be able to leave the country for at least another year. Who knows? Because again, I want to be able to I'm not getting anything shoved up my nose. I mean, that's the thing. So, are there going to be, when I leave, if I leave, first of all, there are a few countries you can go to that will let you in right now, unless you do all this crazy. I'm not jumping through hoops for anyone. If I can drive to Oklahoma, I'd rather do that than go to England and have them shove something up my nose or up my tuchus or something like that. I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm on the same page with that. I'm on the same page. So we have actually found the only way we can enter the States is, I think we have to spit on something. That's what we have to do.
Defiance over compliance. Okay, I'm not, because when you get the thing shoved up your nose, you're letting them violate you in a certain way, and that's a certain level of compliance. I'm not going to do, and it's totally. I just feel horrible for these little kids that had stuff shoved up their noses, and they're just being taught to be so compliant. And I don't know where that's going to. Bad people will take advantage of that one day, because there are bad people out there. Real bad people out there, and a lot of people are becoming compliant and weak, and they, bad people can see weak people really easily, and people are showing their weaknesses so much more than that. I mean, if you're like some double masked person walking around, you're like, and you're in a city like New York, I mean, and some bad dude is a mugger, he sees you a couple times, he's going to target you eventually. It's sad. It's really sad with what's happened to society here, and what's happened to what's considered normal now, and just how fear is a horrifying emotion, and it is really taking control of so many people's lives. So whenever when people out there, if you ever get scared, or if you're ever jumping into a movement because you're scared of something, take a few steps back. Don't let fear guide you ever. Do not let fear guide. And this is what I tell people in Bitcoin too. Don't fear other altcoins. Don't worry about other altcoins. Don't let that drive your love of Bitcoin, your hatred of something else, or you're like, in order for you to be comfortable with Bitcoin, you have to destroy something else. You have to destroy Litecoin or just focus on the positive. Focus on the positive and the productivity. There's so much possible productivity in this technologically marvelous era that we're living in right now. But yet we have all these people who are downgrading themselves in terms of technology. They're hiding their basements and not really embracing. I mean, I guess they're embracing the technology that lets them like touch, think they're touching other people when they're not. I mean, there'll be a virtual reality. I guess don't like that. But no, in terms of productive technologies, people jump in, don't destroy, don't, you know. Part of what liberty is all about is others are free to do what they're going to do, and you're free to do what you're going to do. But in this day and age, people are so worried about what other people are doing. They want to interfere in their lives and tell them what to do. They're not some dude not wearing a mask in Montana. So you're worried about the hospitals in Montana getting overwhelmed, and you're in New York and you're bragging about it. What kind of devil are you, man? I mean, that has nothing to do with your darn life. And you feel accomplished. You feel accomplished that there's something bad happened in mind. You don't even know why it's going on. That's disgusting. It's just like people, that's part of the interconnectivity. It can be a positive, but it can be a negative too. People that we're a global community now, people, there are ways that you could be depressed about it also. And that's sad. It should be, use it as a positive. Again, I'm a positive dude, as everybody can tell. Keep that smile.
Yeah. And I think that's like, I did the same thing as you, Adam. Like the one thing that I did was when we full went and talked down before we came to Tassie, was I really took that time to really focus on myself and reevaluate, because I had just had a massive identity crisis of having to leave, choosing to leave Amber and stepping out of that. My identity was Amber. It was my baby, right? Building that out with Alex. That's all I knew. That's what everybody knew me as. I would even get called Amber. So one of the things was when I actually fully stepped out and I was just on this road of, oh my goodness, what do I do? What do I do? COVID hit. I was like, this is time for me to reevaluate. Took some time, got out of the Bitcoin industry, didn't sell my Bitcoin, just stepped back a little bit, reevaluated. Now I'm back, all guns blazing, and it was the best thing I could have ever done. I see it as a retreat.
That is so awesome that you called it an opportunity. That is what it was. Use somebody else's crisis as your freaking opportunity. Don't treat it as your own freaking crisis, okay? It doesn't have to be your crisis because people in New York are scared, and Sydney, and and something that you just said also. You dropped out of Bitcoin, but you kept your Bitcoin. Remember, people, you don't have to do anything with your Bitcoin. You don't have to have a Bitcoin business. That was a lot of the OGs from 2013. They invested in other people's. They thought, I got to do something. I got to invest in my best friend's Bitcoin business in Africa. They ended up losing all their freaking Bitcoin, okay, or half their Bitcoin. You don't have to do something. You can still be part of the Bitcoin community just by secretly owning your Bitcoin, okay? You don't have to start a business like Amber. You don't have to be a guy that's got a channel or whatever the heck I do. You don't have to do anything like that. You could just be a holder. Being a holder, that actually helps the community. That does help the community, okay? That's that much Bitcoin that's not on the market. But you're helping yourself. You don't have to worry about helping the community. You're helping yourself. You're saving. So don't sacrifice for the Bitcoin community like you could have sacrificed. You weren't having fun in Amber anymore, whatever the reason was, whatever. You could have stuck around and maintained like, I'm gonna make Amber the best darn thing, but it wasn't your thing anymore. You didn't have to do that. But you kept your Bitcoin and you did what was best. You did what was best for you, and it was a wise decision. Yeah. So for all my people that are watching this on my channel right now, she's in Tasmania right now. Just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we're doing like a double show here at the moment. Yeah. So I'm over in Tassie, but I am going to be coming to the States. I'm so positive that we're going to get there. So I'm super pumped and super amped, and I think the first place we're going to land is going to be in Utah.
Utah. That would be hard to do. It would be hard for your first place. You will land in JFK in New York. No. You come from Australia, so you will land in San Francisco or Los Angeles. But then you could get to Utah easy after that. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you like ski. I mean, the thing why I'm getting out of Salt Lake City, I don't like the cold. So it starts getting cold now. But the skiing here is apparently unbelievable. You can see the white mountains, not now, it's nighttime, but it's for a guy who grew up in Baltimore, you don't see any mountains. To see the snow-capped mountains in October, it's it's cool. It's interesting, but I don't want to deal with a cult. I do not want to deal. That is my thing. As someone who's done well for himself, at least I spend money on making sure I'm in a warm place. That I'm good with. But I got to be better with, can't be super frugal. There's really no reason to be frugal anymore. No reason to be frugal anymore.
No, but you always must do what makes you happy.
Yes.
Makes you feel good, right? So
Yes.
we're the same. I'm really wanting to. I only have to go to Utah because I need to go say thank you to somebody. But other than that, I'm definitely going to be escaping to some part of the warm country. Wherever it's warm, that's where I'm going to be.
Wow, you really know someone in Utah. That is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's through Bitcoin, or just through life in general.
Just through life.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Because I don't. Yeah. I haven't noticed too much I know some Bitcoiners here through my channel, but I haven't seen any Bitcoin. Haven't heard of a Salt Lake City Bitcoin meetup. I haven't. I mean, it is a college town here, so I haven't really researched it. I've just enjoyed how relaxing and beautiful and safe it is here. So
Yeah.
I hope you make it to Salt Lake City, definitely, or Utah, whatever. The whole thing. It's not a very populated state to say the least, but it's a big state and a beautiful state.
Yeah. No, I definitely will. I'll be making my way somewhere around. And here and there, we'll definitely be traveling around through everywhere, wherever we can, really.
We'll get out once you land in San Francisco and Los Angeles. If they still have these insane restrictions over there, you got to get out of there as soon as possible. Those two places.
Yeah, definitely, 110%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just so sad. Los Angeles, can be so fun when it's open, but when it's half, it's terrible. It's just disgraceful.
Yeah. Well, I did want to quickly ask you two last questions. One is, how would you advise somebody to go about buying? The second one, and that could be like a strategy, like DCA strategy, whatever you want to go into. The second one is, what would you rate as one of the top resources to find out a little bit more that's in a bit more layman terms about Bitcoin?
Oh, easy to read source. So that's I'll get to that in a second. I got to think about that. The buying, if you've got a weak hand, you got to DCA into it. You go to Amber, or not Amber. Go to what's the Swan? Swan is like Amber, I guess. Swan Bitcoin. I mean, you can even go to Coinbase, but I'm friends with the guys at Swan, and just buy $100 every week and maybe up it a little bit, and just get the hang of it. Now, if you're a person who can seriously drive it into your head, I'm not going to sell this for 4 years. I'm going to forget about it. Just you got some extra cash, buy a bulk, buy a bunch of it now, and just wait 4 years, okay? And if you start feeling temptation to sell, then start DCAing into it, because you'll feel better. Like, okay, I'm buying some more for cheap, cheaper than I paid the original stash. But so that's kind of like a hybrid model right there. But I mean, we're talking about different types of personalities, and it is. You don't want to tell someone who's impulsive to spend a lot on it now, because they're going to be the ones who are going to be so disappointed so fast and do something impulsive like sell the whole stash for a major loss. So the DCA is kind of like teaching them to like get a taste of it every week or every month, whatever. You don't have to do it every week. You don't have to do 2 weeks, month, whatever it is. And so again, if you do buy a big hunk of it, you can always start DCAing to make you feel that's dollar cost averaging into it. Now, easy to understand source of Bitcoin. Some of it, Andreas Antonopoulos' older videos, you can go to his channel, and he answers a lot of people's basic questions, and they're pretty good explanations. They're pretty good explanations right there. Now, in terms of written, that's audio visual right there. I can't think of a. There are some. There's some basic sites out there. I cannot think of any of them offhand, because I don't go to them anymore. I don't go to the basic sites, but like someone like Andreas Antonopoulos, his old videos. And he titles them pretty well. They're like basic questions, so you could like go through his archives and like, oh, I have that same question, and it would answer the question right there. What was is it maybe Bitcoin.org? Is that the one that had Some good
Let me double
explanation.
check.
Well, that one might be good. Let me see. I want to be careful because some of them have been hijacked. Uh, yeah, yeah,
I
Bitcoin.
think,
Yeah, Bitcoin.org is, I think, a good one.
yeah.
Resources. Yeah, that one's got some explanations on it. I
Mm.
think some easy explanations on it. Yeah. Bitcoin.org was one from the past that kind of sticks out in my head. I know as soon as I get off the call with you, I'm going to think of a bunch of
Yeah.
or some friend of mine. With the Swan Bitcoin, I think they explain it. Swan Bitcoin site explains it, I think, pretty well
I'll have
too.
to have a look. Yeah, I'll post some of the links up when this goes live for sure. And I think one of the other books that I've read that really made me understand it completely was the Bitcoin Standard.
Yeah, and everybody says that his book is really good for that. I don't want to say it because I haven't read the book, but I
Okay.
didn't. that came to my mind, but I didn't. I haven't read the book, so I don't want to. I don't want to promote something that I haven't read. But so many
Mm.
people say that that's good. I mean, that kind of teaches you about what like money really is. So that gives you a good economic reason from what I heard.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, it gives you the like history to, today to the future. And I think that's like one of the best things that you could possibly do when learning about something is understanding a bit about the history and where we actually came from, how we really fucked up, and then how we created an amazing thing like Bitcoin.
Yeah, that is there are a lot of people that come to it that do not have the economic background. So that
Yeah.
is a good way to get a good economic base of it. Yeah, and I wasn't thinking about it because I did get the economic aspect of it when I got in. I'll tell you that I definitely understood. State not controlling this is a very good thing. It's a very very good.
Yeah.
But so many people don't understand. Like I think anybody should be able to create their own private money. I have no problem if Facebook if they created their own coin at all. I have no problem at all. Compete, don't complain. But most people are statist, so they buy the statist line that these countries say, oh no, you're not allowed to make your own currency. You're not allowed to make it. I mean, and you see what happens if you make your own centralized currency. I mean, they'll come after you. They definitely will come
Yeah.
after you. But most people buy into it. They think, oh yeah, that's right. If the government says it's illegal, it's wrong. But no, why is it morally wrong to make your own money? It isn't at all. So I'm sure that the book gets into, back in the day, there were all sorts of private monies and whatnot. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't have that basis. They just buy whatever the state narrative is on money, on health, on anything. So yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Well, thank you, Adam, so much for coming onto the show today. And I'm so, so grateful to have you on board and to, yeah, be able to catch up with you again.
Yeah, man. Well, I
It's been fun.
hope people follow me on Twitter. I'm sure you'll link to it all
Yes.
below. I'm TECHBALT. That's like Tech Balt. That goes back to my days of Baltimore. I was a technology guy in Baltimore. Well, I was into technology in Baltimore. I was a marketing guy. But TECHBALT on Twitter, and I'm just look up Bitcoinmeister on YouTube or go to disruptmeister.com. I'm not only the Bitcoinmeister, I'm the Disruptmeister. And if you're watching this on YouTube, pound that like button. And just Google my name, YouTube my name, Adam Meister. You'll find me. You'll find me, people.
100%.
But
And
and thank you for
you,
having me on. It was a pleasure.
no, of course.
It went by. It goes by so fast
I
talking.
know, I know, I know. And if one tip to leave, what can you leave? One tip.
One tip of what? What is it?
Okay, one tip around Bitcoin. Like what's one tip that you can leave? It could be like a knowledge-based sort of thing, or it could be like, oh, okay, I dare you to go buy X amount of Bitcoin, $5 worth, whatever it might be.
Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. You're going to hear about all these altcoins that say they're the next Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. There's nothing is going to. I have seen again. I've been in this 8 years. I have seen so many supposed altcoin flavors of the month. IOTA, all this Neo, all these ones people don't even know what they are anymore. They were the biggest things for some time. There's so many altcoin flavors of the month. They come and go. And they all try to be the next Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Remember that, and that will boost your confidence. And do your research and see how all these altcoins have come and gone. And now they're like number 200 when they were number 3 beforehand. I've seen them all come and go, and only one has stayed number 1, and that is Bitcoin, because it is the next Bitcoin. And that's it right there. So that's my word of advice. That's what I'm leaving people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. And thank you guys for listening to the show today. And I hope you all have a good one. Bye.